Hello there, my name is Tom Scrollo and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk all things trading, finances and money in general. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, show me some support and follow me on Instagram. A lot of fun backstage stuff there as always. In this video, let's discuss how I missed $1 billion opportunity. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. So if you've been following me on Instagram, then you already know that just a few weeks ago, back in August, I was in Kiev with a few interesting people, and we spent about 4 days in Kiev talking about different business opportunities and one huge project in general. This trip was specifically for the discussion of this project, and these people wanted me on board for this project as the fourth and last founder of this magnificent idea that they had. So I decided to record this video. I don't know how long it's gonna be. It might be a bit boring, but this is the reality. This is me sharing my experience from the big business world, how it works, and if it's full of scam, and how to identify a scam, and how to be careful with your net worth, with what you have built and what you have achieved. I've been working for about 10 years to end up where I am today. So I was really careful about any offers and any opportunities that, I'm always careful whenever any opportunity presents itself. Whenever you're an active trader or an investor, this business teaches you how to evaluate any given opportunity thoroughly and stay away from emotional trading or investing, because really the behavior in the market, you as an investor, as a trader, is very similar to many aspects in life, to your decision making and how impulsive you are, how capable you are of proper cognitive, rational thought, and how you make decisions in general. Just let's deviate away from the main topic for just 1 second. Whenever you're analyzing an asset, if you want to add it to your portfolio and invest money into it, you're looking at different things, macroeconomics, you're looking at fundamentals of the company, you're looking at the reports, you're looking at the market sentiment, and you're looking at even technical price action of the price of the stock, if it's publicly traded company. And then you're putting it all together in one big overview, and you're making a decision based on that, leaving your emotions to the best of your ability out of the equation completely. The same thing goes for joining a project or risking whatever you have and stopping what you're doing and focusing on something else, which is theoretically more promising. And you have to look at things always from the distance and with a cold mind. Because in this example that is going to be discussed in this video, this is a huge insight into my life, into what I'm doing, into how I'm growing, into how I'm looking to achieve my goals. And as you might know, if you've been my subscriber for a while, that you already know that this YouTube channel, it's got a bunch of stuff in it, but the most important idea and the concept of this YouTube channel is to share my journey to my goal, which is $1 billion. I don't know how soon it's gonna happen, but my net worth is increasing step by step, and soon I'm gonna be probably closer to the end of the year, closer to the end of fourth quarter. I'm gonna be creating one of those overviews, which I did in the summer, of my net worth, how much money I made where and how much I've lost, and did my net worth increase or decrease. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. And in general, it's done to share my experience and what the fuck I'm doing with my money and how I'm progressing through social ladder, and which decisions I'm making, which opportunities present themselves along the way. And with our move to Dubai, quite many opportunities are presenting themselves. I'm working on many projects, many of which have been already disclosed, many of which will be disclosed soon. And it's not done to brag or anything. This content is created for a few purposes. One of the main purposes is to inspire, to show how possible it is. I grew up without a father. I'm not some kind of a millionaire rich kid who is just playing with some money. I started with nothing but a dig in my hand back in the United States when I lived in New York. I was flipping cars, furniture, and that kind of shit. So, and then each single opportunity, the one that I took, was always fucking very risky. cannot just go around it without risk. Always said to place pretty much everything on red, each huge turn that I've taken in my life, which led me, thankfully, to scaling up myself and my businesses and my net worth and etc. and my cognitive abilities as well as my knowledge, etc. So always build yourself as a persona, not just in terms of your money, because you need to always increase your knowledge to be able to go forward in life and progress into bigger and bigger numbers. So, and now I was presented with an opportunity in Kiev to perhaps again place everything on red, but go from, you know, like $10 million net worth to potentially $1 billion net worth by the end of potentially 2022. This was the type of an opportunity that was capable of theoretically making me one of the richest people on the planet. And the idea that these guys had, the founders of the company that I was invited to join, this whole idea was pretty epic. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I'll tell you all about it. I mean, there's nothing to hide here. And I've spoken with all these three founders, and they said it's fine if I record a video about it. So this is something that out of real life, out of big business, out of big numbers, millions and billions of dollars, that is possible to achieve through just the right connections, through the right mindset, through the right risk and money management, etc. In the beginning, as I already said, I did not take this opportunity. And I don't know, by the way, once you finish watching this video, let me know down in the comments if you agree with my decision or you don't agree. So just briefly about the idea and who these people were. So they represented their own holding company, three founders, and their worth of their holding company at the time of our discussion in Kiev a few weeks ago, it was 47 million euro. So their overall net worth was close to like 55-60 million dollars. And it was did our due diligence, so it's true, and it's I knew people who knew them, so it wasn't that I was approached somewhere on Instagram by some Nigerian prince or anything, so it wasn't any of those stupid things. I never fall for any shit like that. So it was real, the people were real, the numbers that they were operating within, which again, $60 million worth of their holding company was worth $60 million, that was real as well. So it wasn't anything, you know, just fairy dust. It wasn't a lie. And the idea that they had, so two of the founders are extremely smart IT guys, I would say, not necessarily like IT, but they had an extensive background, and their companies were in the realm and the industry of IT mostly. I'm not gonna tell you what companies, but doesn't really matter for the purpose of this video. And those were the companies that made up the value of about $55-60 million in their holding company. And then there was this third founder who was a guy, he was the mastermind of this whole idea and the concept that they want to bring to life. And his profession, and he's like a scientist, it's like sociology, it's not sociology, it's socionics, something like that, you can Google it. So it basically is a science of studying psycho profiles of individuals. So basically, in just simple layman terms, if you meet this guy, all he needs is about 1 minute speaking to you, and literally like 60 seconds, and he can tell you which type you are, because out of all the humanity, there are only 16 type of people, and there are 4 quadrants, and then there are 4 types under each quadrant. I hope that I'm saying it correctly. So in total, 16 types of people. It's quite funny. It gets like, you know, the breeds of people. And everybody's thinking, okay, we have so many different nationalities and races and Asians and African Americans, whites, Latinos, Hispanics, whatever. So we have so many different people. But in reality, all of them, all of us, all like 7-8 billion, whatever amount of people, all of us fall under one of those 16 types and breeds of people. So, and he is the one who is studying all of it, and he's the scientist in this science. This science was the logic behind this whole project, which I'll tell you about shortly. Then there is also 4 performance metrics of any individual. So you're watching this video, you're also one of those 16. So there are 4 quadrants. So one, first quadrant, second, third, and fourth. And then there are different types under those. So you're one of those 16. And also there is that performance metric, which is alphas, betas, gammas, and deltas, I think. Alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, something like so. 4 more types which go under those 16. I hope that I'm making sense here. You can rewind and watch this again. So, and those are basically different types of people. Again, the alphas, for example, and as they said, I am the alpha one, the alpha male, so to speak. Usually out of 100 people, only 1, 2, maximum 3 people are going to be alphas. Those are the creators, the leaders, the doers, the active, high-performing individuals. Then there are the betas. Betas are the ones who are usually, obviously, following the alphas, but they are also quite strong. They know what they want, but they are always taking the lead. There are more followers. And those are usually out of 100 people, there are usually 6 to 15 of betas. Then there are gammas or deltas, either one, which one ever comes first. If you know all this stuff, just let me know down in the description. Down in the comments. And those are more the people who are with nature, floating, don't give a shit about anything. And those are like 30% of the people. And the rest, 60, is just the mass. The mass that doesn't know why they live, what they're doing, they're just lost, they don't want to work, they have debt, and that lowest layer of our social layer, so to speak, to put it mildly. So this is it. There are 16 types and then 4 of those. And this guy, who is the mastermind, the third founder, he is super genius in all of it. So he, with these others, so all of the 3 of them together, they have created a software that with quite a high success rate identifies your type, human, that breed, one of those 16, as well as that part about alpha, beta, gamma, etc. And there is that software that identifies all of that. So, and it does it by just a picture of your profile photo, which is quite nuts, right? And to increase the success rate and the accuracy rate, you can add into the equation your voice. So just a piece of text that you read for, 30 seconds, or you speak for 30 seconds. And then also your handwriting. There are just a few things that can give quite a good accuracy to identification of a human being, and that in turn gives them an amazing description of who you are, your type, and how you behave, and that in turn leads to the ability on a systematic way to predict your behavior. So this is quite nuts, that they can predict how you're gonna act in a certain situation. And if you're prone to anger, if you're prone to be a gambler or a smoker or a drinker or a murderer, I don't know, whatever. So they can predict almost like your life cycle. They cannot maybe predict something, as tiny as what you're gonna have for breakfast, but maybe even that is possible with the right amount of data. But you're already getting an idea of how it's done and what they're doing. And at this time, at this stage, it is not completely automated. Certain part of the software is capable to work on its own, and certain piece of it requires certain amount of human involvement, certain educated profilers, so to speak, and in their company they have a few of those who are specially educated, who can finish up the work after the algorithm does its job and to actually complete the profile. So, and the idea that they want to achieve was quite massive. So they wanted me to join this team, the executive team, and be the 4th founder for one simple reason. Because they saw me as an individual who is capable of producing this whole idea and pushing it, be the train of it, and actually take it to the masses and actually make it successful from the perspective of PR, marketing, be the face of the company, and actually make it explode with vertical economics principles and just take off with a viral effect. And this is what they believed I was capable of doing. And sort of, I agreed with them, and that's my business even right now. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And also, which was quite awesome, was that all of us, all 4, so the 3 existing founders and me, we were all from the same quadrant, from the 3rd one. These 3 guys, they were all different. So remember, under each quadrant, there are 4 types of people. And the 3 of them, they were making up basically 75% of that quadrant. And then there was one missing. And it's quite funny actually, but the name of this fourth one in this third quadrant, the name, just like, you know, they use it for as a metaphor, but it's actually an official name for this position in that quadrant, is called Napoleon. So the Napoleon is the one who just marches and makes everything possible and scales everything and adds extra zeros to the end. So the one who actually packages everything and sells it to the fucking world. So, and this is me, and I quite actually agree. So their profiling was very accurate when it came to when they actually profiled me. So, and they wanted their executive team to be fully complete, to have all 4 members of the same quadrant in the team. And quite honestly, the way we communicated, the way we formed the team, even in those 4 days in Kiev, was pretty fucking awesome. I love the guys. I mean, we spoke hours without end, and we generated ideas, and we respected each other in the conversation, and it was just a nice experience. And then I explained it is because we are from the same quadrant, we think in the same way, in the same direction, and basically we are easy to get along with one another. Because if, for example, I would have been from the first quadrant, or the second, or the third, the fourth, so not from the third one, I could have had, you know, like sometimes even you might, let me know down in the comments, sometimes you might feel this feeling that whenever you meet somebody new, you have no reason for it, but you don't like this individual. You speak with him, he didn't say anything bad, but you don't fucking like him for no reason. And that often is because you're from different quadrants. These people have different kinds of, some kinds of vibrations, different mindsets from different quadrants, different purposes in life, different values, and that somehow projects to the way they speak, to the way they behave, to the way they express themselves. And even though they are not saying anything that you don't like necessarily, but you still get that wrong vibe from them. And this is explained by actually the science that we are talking about here. And so they wanted this team, the executive team, to be complete with the third quadrant. And that's also one of the reasons why they wanted me on board. And so what they wanted to do was pretty amazing, I gotta tell you. So they wanted to take this algorithm, finish building it so that it becomes like almost completely automated, and then having this knowledge and ability to predict the future of a human being, so that you, for example, they know that Warren Buffett is he's an alpha from third quadrant. So is Bill Gates. Jeff Bezos is from the second quadrant, whatever. So they know exactly how it works, in what things they actually believe as CEOs and the presidents of huge corporations, and how they build their businesses. They even build their businesses differently. And so when they have this kind of an information, they can take a teenager, I don't know, 16 years of age or 18 years of age, make him upload an application on the main website with his image, for example, his handwriting, text, and some voice conversation, whatever, and actually put it through the system and analyze who he is. Follow me here and try to focus on what I'm saying, because it can be a bit challenging to understand. Even it took me some time to understand it. So, and when they have this information on an individual, they can see, for example, he's from the third quadrant. He is an alpha, so he has a potential with the right amount of support. He has the potential of becoming the next Elon Musk, the next Jeff Bezos, the next who the fuck ever. So the next huge businessman, huge artist, singer, or IT specialist, whatever. They can predict. Again, as I said, they might not be able to predict, you know, what they're gonna have for breakfast, but they can predict the general tendencies of that individual and predict his quality of life and the direction he's gonna be taking. And so when this system is finding these people, they wanted to build a separate market. So now let that sink in for a second. So right now we have the stock market, we have the crypto market, which is the recent newest market, but there is no human potential market. So again, it's not like selling slaves or anything. It's not human trafficking or anything. It's a market of human potential. So when we see an application, there would be different applicants, and it's publicly available. And through my amazing marketing skills, this thing would blow up quite quickly and become viral. And you can go in there and you can see an individual, I don't know, John Johnson. He is from third quadrant. He is a Napoleon. He's going to be this and that. This is what he's doing in life. Here are his blog posts, and he would have to be, doing some blogs and sharing what he's doing in life. And each of these people in the system that is picked by the system would have an automatic token issued to them on their own blockchain. This is quite epic, and this is quite interesting how they worked through this whole idea of the actual logistics of this project. So again, you are a smart guy and you're the alpha, you're from whatever quadrant, you are the part of this project. There is your application and you have an automatically generated token with a maximum of, I don't know, the cap of 100 million tokens. For example, at the start, 90% of them are frozen, and the first 10% are sold at $1. So when somebody is investing into that token, they are getting like a small piece of you, pretty much. It's like, if you were able to invest into Elon Musk 25 years ago before he exploded and became Elon Musk. The idea here is that you can invest into the future human potential, and the price of the token would climb simply because the demand for the token would be increasing as this individual is going to his goals and he is actually getting a lot of use out of this whole project, and he's getting educated and he's using the money, and I'll tell you about the money shortly, and he's using the money in the proper way. So he's using that money to develop himself, and you see that curve of his development go up, and so hopefully the curve of cost of his token would also correlate with his personal development. And the idea here is actually quite noble, because a lot of us, and I agree with this statement, that there is a lot of talent, unused and buried talent in the world, of people who cannot pursue their dreams, who cannot express themselves, cannot pursue the things that they are in love with, like art or, I don't know, even gaming or some kind of entrepreneurship or company building, because of things like social pressure, pressure in the family. The biggest one is, of course, lack of money, lack of time, because you have to work on 3 jobs to support your sick mother, unfortunately. So this is something that kills, absolutely kills most of the talent in the world, because you'd be surprised how many talented people there are. And when they're becoming part of this project and there is a token generated in their name and there are people investing into them, it's not all at once. They get a certain amount of money unlocked per month that they can use. They can sell their own token and use that money for self-improvement, for paying for college, for paying for education, for, I don't know, financing their art, I don't know, paying for canvases, paints, whatever it is that they're doing, so they can actually develop their fucking talent. And this system is also, whenever this system is being fed with information, it can also, obviously, when it understands which type you are, there are certain things that you are just by nature and by your genetics that you're good at. And it can actually help you understand which niche and sphere you are talented in. So it can actually expose your talent and give you money to actually go forward with that talent and develop it, of course, if you're interested. And at the same time, it's a separate market where people have a chance of making long-term investments into a human potential. So this is just in short about the project. And to be honest, that's why it's $1 billion project, because we could be the founders of another brand new market of human potential, which is fucking epic. So this is something that this company could reach a capitalization of $1 trillion, not even $1 billion, $1 trillion in the next 10 years, which is absolutely possible. So now it brings us to the part of the video. Why did I decide not to go into it? And there are quite a few personal, tiny reasons, which I'm not going to discuss in this video again because it's a bit private. I might be later on blamed for corporate espionage, I don't know. But besides those, there were quite a few technical issues that I just could not live with. Number one was that they were not just inviting me to join the team and that's it. So if that would have been the case, maybe I would have had some interest. But what they wanted my companies, basically. So they wanted me to merge all of my existing businesses and all of my existing cash flow to merge it with their holding company. So if, for example, all of my companies are worth $10 million and theirs are worth $50 million, then by merging, I could get like 20% of the overall holding company by increasing the overall capitalization or the overall worth to 70 million from 60 million, or to 60 million from 50 million, whatever. So I could get like 20% of this whole holding company. So they would own a fraction of my companies and I would own a fraction of their company. So you can actually Google what merging of companies is. And from one aspect, I understood it because, again, you know, if you're working on such a huge multi-billion-dollar idea, you really want to focus just on it. So I would have to finalize all the things that I'm doing currently, automate them, and then move them, merge them with their companies, have a few employees in the main office that would be managing everything for me, and then focus all together as a team on this huge project of this human artificial intelligence of predicting human lives and creating a capital markets out of it. So this is something that was both exciting and not, because when you're doing a merging, you're completely losing control of your business. So from 100% owner, and I'm a 100% owner of all my companies, I would become a 20% owner. So I would lose my say in everything, because now I need other 3 people to agree with me on what the fuck ever I want to do. So it's basically giving up on everything I've been building for 10 years. And again, this is, you know, again, placing everything on red, because anything can go down the drain. A lot of the money they're investing, at least around 1 million, into different things like an office, employee salaries and stuff, $1 million a year. So me, with my companies, then basically if I'm making $1 million a year now, I would have to spend at least 200,000 already, being a 20% shareholder, on the development of the project, which is of course again decreasing my income. Then all of my companies, they are either in the United States or in Dubai, so I basically pay almost no tax, just because where I live we don't have any tax. And in the companies that I have in the United States, I pay very little tax. Of course, if we are merging with a European holding company, we would have to make it all by European standards and laws of taxation, and that would mean that I would lose at least like 30-40% of my income just because of the damn taxes. That would mean that if I'm joining this project, instead of making $100,000 a month, I would end up making maybe, I don't know, 30. So it was quite painful to go from $100,000 a month down to $30,000 a month. And this is something that a lot of you who are firm believers into the future would say, I mean, this is a sacrifice worth making. And I agree. So it wasn't that big of a deal for me. So I can reduce the 100K down to 30K for the next year or two and then go to a billionaire status. But I would do it only if I was 100% certain that it's going to be the case, or 99%. I know that there is no such thing as 100% certainty, but I wanted to be very sure that this is the best opportunity in my life, and which I did not believe so. The project looked very good. The guys who were the founders, extremely smart, smarter than me probably. But the way that they believed in the project was, in my opinion, a bit too ambitious. And I thought that maybe in like 5 years, it could be possible to achieve something that they set out to achieve. And the numbers, if you're doing the calculation of all the expenses and all the launches and all the developments and all the science stuff behind it, which is always very expensive, then we needed to invest millions upon millions. And of course, we could have raised a few rounds. Maybe we could have done an ICO, gathered like, I don't know, $20-30 million, and then done it in this way. But it was just, the more I was digging into the numbers, the more I was realizing how actually hard it's gonna be. And the risk, the chance of success was around, in my estimates, around 5 to 10%. So should I, and let me know that in the comments, should I risk it for $1 billion risk? And again, if it all goes down the drain, they will pull all my existing companies down the drain as well. And instead of getting to, I don't know, the net worth of $100 million in the next 5 years, I'm gonna end up with a net worth of fucking $0. So this is the risk. Because if it all goes down, I lose the right to decide, because again, there are 4 founders and not just me who owns everything. And so of course they're gonna vote for keeping the project going and keep feeding the project, and which is also my businesses in there. So just long story short, it could have been a devastating effect. With the way I have my plan set out right now, I'm of course reaching $1 billion with my existing plans is quite challenging, but I'm a firm believer it's gonna happen, but of course not within 2 years. So obviously I could get to, maybe within 2 years, I could get to a net worth, as if you haven't watched my previous videos on my net worth and projections before, then please watch them. I did a projection that by the end of the next year, I could reach a net worth of around up to 100 million. So it is possible, but of course not $1 billion. So would it be worth to risk for a potential 5 to 10% potential of reaching $1 billion by the end of the next year, or be smart, stay with your own companies and have a chance of reaching 100 million by the next year, but you own everything, you understand what's going on, and you're basically your own boss. And so that's why I decided that the risk was too huge. And to be honest, just telling you a small secret, I did not really understand the logic, how it all works after all. I mean, I'm not a scientist. They did show me some of the stuff or the logic behind it, and I understood some pieces of it. If you're gonna be putting everything on red, you really need to fucking understand everything. And that meant that I probably need to spend like a half a year with them to actually understand everything properly and understand the science behind it and all the code and the technology that they currently have. Because again, I'm not an IT specialist, so you know, they could have sold me a cat in the bag as well. And I mean, they're not my relatives or friends that I have known for 30 years or whatever, so I couldn't really trust them on each single word that they were saying. So there were more negative aspects than the positive. And that brings me back to what I started with this video with, looking at this whole picture in general. So, and sometimes it is so painful. It is, guys, it's so fucking difficult to make such decisions, because here it is, $1 billion opportunity, and the founders who are worth $60 million want you in with them. They value your opinion, they value your worth, they know that you're, so it's like, it was like a huge compliment to me that I was invited to join them and work on this project together. It was amazing. But at the same time, you have to understand the risks. And sometimes a lot of people have gone bankrupt on this kind of stuff. When something that was worth investing in, they were investing everything into it, and it just didn't play out. And instead of having $100 million, they had zero. So, and for me, it was too huge of a risk to take. But it is a true story how there was $1 billion opportunity in front of me, which I rejected. And at some point, maybe I'll even watch this video myself, which is like more of a monologue than a video. In my video, guys probably hating me for recording this long talking video, because it's difficult to make it dynamic. But I made it for those who really want to experience what I'm experiencing and listen to my story and to how I'm working towards my goals and how I'm making decisions and the logic, and read between the lines and understand my decision making and the process in my head when I'm making important decisions. Because this kind of stuff, I mean, you cannot make this shit up. It's incredibly difficult to understand who is trying to fuck you, who is trying to genuinely invite you into a good project, the idea behind it, the science, because everybody's doing different things and you get many invitations into different stuff, especially when you have money and you're a social person. It becomes a challenge to preserve your capital and not just jump into each single idea and just lose the money everywhere and be left with nothing but dick in your hands. So this is something that for those of you who are watching this video till the end, I hope that you really enjoyed this. Just me, without any plan, sharing exactly any, I didn't even write out the topics for this video. I just started talking and telling you the story behind it, the story and idea behind this multi-billion-dollar idea. And by the way, you can check them out. The name of the company is Harmony, H-R-M-Y, HRMNY. Harmony.com and harmonycapital.com as well. But you can Google them, you'll find them, the founders, etc. So it's all there, it's all real. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And let me know down in the comments if you agree with my decision or not, or whether I should have risked it for the biscuit. Because remember, when Elon Musk exited PayPal back in the day, when he made $180 million, I mean, that's pretty fucking good, right? 180 million. And then he ended up investing all of it into SpaceX and Tesla. He didn't even have a fucking house. He was gone from multi-millionaire down to being a peasant living in his own office. And SpaceX was this close, as well as Tesla, this close to bankruptcy. So he almost went from 180 million down to zero. And I know this is what it takes. This kind of super high calculated risk is what it takes to become ultra rich, ultra wealthy, and the billionaire level. Because if it were easy, there would have been many more billionaires than there are now. It is really hard to make this. It's not, trust me, it's not difficult to make a few million, but to make a few, like hundreds of millions of dollars or $1 billion, this is fucking hard. And you have to make some really difficult decisions, the decisions that have a potential of completely destroying you. And this is what Elon Musk did, but look at him now, one of the richest men on earth. And I mean, there was a lot of luck, a lot of perseverance, belief, a lot of stress, he worked probably twice as much as I work, and I think that I work a lot. So yeah, it's all about what you want to do and your firm belief into the things you're doing. And when it comes to Harmony in this project that I was invited into to join, it just wasn't worth the risk, and probably maybe I will never see an opportunity like this. If that's the case, so be it. But at the time, with the information I had, the money that I had, and the calculation for the risk, I decided it was not worth it. I hope that you've enjoyed this freestyle video. If you did, please like the video. I'm putting a lot of thought into the creation, and it takes a lot of energy to create them. And it's like 11:30 p.m. here in Dubai. I'm recording these videos for you guys, so hope you enjoyed it. As always, peace and love from potential billionaire, but now we'll have to keep on working on the pace that I was already working on. Well, we'll get to $1 billion. Just will take a bit longer. Right, cheers. Have a good one.